Get reaction now from ActionSA in Gauteng, the chairperson, Funzi Ngobeni, joining us. Good to have you, sir, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Tabo, and good evening to your viewers.
Are you surprised that the deadlock is playing out so publicly and so clumsily between the ANC and the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng?
Oh, look, I mean, it's really disappointing. I mean, we were hopeful last night when we had the president announcing the national cabinet, although we opposed the bloatedness of that cabinet, but we welcomed the fact that at least there is now, a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll start seeing service delivery. We'll start seeing the ministers on the ground, and voters will start seeing what they voted for. Now this today we were hoping that we'll get the executive here in Gauteng, so that we can also start seeing the work being done in various municipalities and various areas of Gauteng. But yeah, it looks like people are fighting for positions. And this is not the first time. Remember, the Premier postponed the previous announcement that was scheduled about a week or two ago. And it looks like they're still in the same position. They have not yet found each other, and that is delaying really service delivery. It is really sad, and we really want to condemn that. We want to ask them to put the interest of our people ahead of their own interest, and start really being a bit mature in dealing with these matters, because really we cannot go on like this.
Are these, I mean, in your view, teething problems of the new normal? Others are saying this is the new age or new dispensation of how governments are going to be formed in South Africa from now on. And therefore, these are just teething problems. Once we get over this, we'll be used to the idea of coalitions and we'll do better.
Look, I mean, we have a reason to be worried, Tabo, because we have seen how Panyaza operates here in Gauteng, in the municipalities that have experienced quite a lot of instability. I mean, if you look at Johannesburg, you look at Ekurhuleni, and with the jockeying of positions and puppet mayors that have been installed by him. So we have a reason to be worried if they are unable to find each other so early in their marriage. Then what's going to happen down the line? So we really want to call on them to exercise a bit of maturity, to be humble, and to treat it with each other with respect, and stay the course. When they have agreed about something, they must see it to the end. People of Gauteng do not want to see this. All they are looking for is for their issues to be resolved. There's so many issues that the sixth administration that was led by Panyaza has left them hanging. People are waiting for them to get into office so that they can resolve those issues. So we really have a reason to be worried as the people of Gauteng, because the people that are leading this, they've got a history of really playing with the lives of our residents.
So, I mean, if we pick up from that, if jostling for positions, as you put it, is really not in the interest of the people of the province, who stands to benefit from this jostling for positions, and why is it something that is playing out this way?
Yeah, because, I mean, if you look at it, Tabo, I mean, this is only the first step of what they should do. There's so many things that they have to sit around the table on to agree on. I mean, the program of action in terms of this administration has not been decided yet. There is already a budget, of course, that was passed by the previous government, which this new administration will have to run with it up until the end of this financial year. But even that budget that was approved, it has not been canvassed yet with our residents. It has not been really taken through the department. Basically, the department are standing still. People are waiting for the executives to come and sign off a number of items that needs to ensure that work on the ground happens. But without that work happening, the only beneficiaries of this jostling of positions will be the individuals who are jostling, and not the residents who are paying taxes, who are waiting for this service delivery to start taking shape on the ground. So it's only political parties that will benefit from this, and residents will be left wondering whether their votes are being taken seriously. So I think it really calls on them to really go back and sit down around the table and resolve this matter. Yeah. It shouldn't be difficult for people to sacrifice and to sort of agree that they can't have everything, because ANC has not won this election, that's for sure. DA is there with them. They've agreed that they're going to work with them, so they must work with them. They must not play with the lives of our people when they've already agreed that they want to work with the DA. So they must be able to find each other and sacrifice some of these positions to the other parties that are there with them.
So interesting that you mentioned this issue of budget. I mean, you would know, as you would see on his social media platform, the Premier is going ahead with the programs of the government. It's almost business as usual for him, launching Nasispani, military veterans training, and so on and so forth. Are you concerned about that, and what is actually being put in place there without the political oversight?
Yeah, you see, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him, running with things that were approved in the past administration. But we need to also do oversight on what he's doing. We are unable to do oversight. The legislature is also standing still. Members of the legislature do not have rules of trade, do not have things that needs to be afforded to them by the executive. The officials in the province are saying we are waiting for our principals before we can be able to do anything. So it's important that whatever he's doing, that there is also accountability that needs to happen. But it's also important that officials who are supposed to be the ones that are doing most of the work needs to be empowered to be able to go ahead and do the work. And that cannot be done by one man. He needs that executive to be in their position, so that all of them can then start to strategize and put a strategy together that will take us to the next election. And that cannot be done only by him as the Premier. That is why it's important that he must have his executive. So the work it's not happening. I mean, if you look at the social development department. There are people that have delivered services there. Most of them are old people that have delivered uniforms that the department procured from them. They've not been paid for the past 5 months, 6 months, and they've been camping in their offices, asking for officials to assist them. Officials are unable to move because the principals are not there. So it's important that we must get this executive in place, so that service delivery can happen. That's not the only issue. I mean, if you look at the health department, there's a need for an MEC to come in there and resolve some of the problems that are there. There are security guards that have been sleeping outside their offices, that have been asking for attention from this executive, and no one is there to be able to assist them. So it's important, Thabo, that this coalition of the ANC and DA must find each other. And ensure that they come and address issues that are pertinent to the people of Gauteng.
So they're saying there are two lists, it seems. I mean, the ANC coming short of saying that either way, the Premier would have announced today some kind of an executive that, for all we are assessing from what we got from the presser, would have excluded the Democratic Alliance. There is a list with the EFF and I think including the MK party. There is a list with the DA excluding the EFF and the MK party. Are you having any preference either way?
Not at all. I mean, for us, it's really to see the executive in place. We don't care whether the DA and ANC, EFF, and MK. I think I mean they have to make a decision. I think the people of Gauteng will also tell you that All they want is it's for a government that is working, a government that is not corrupt, a government that will be able to deliver services on a daily basis. And it doesn't matter whether that government is black or white, as long as it's able to do the work. That's what that's what the residents will say. But it's important that there is stability in what they are doing, whether it's with the MK or EFF, whether it's DA. They must be able to say this thing is going to take us to the next level. It's not going to collapse in the next 3 weeks, just like what they've been doing in municipalities. So we are really worried and that they are unable to really put their differences aside, their self-interest aside, and putting the interest of our people ahead of everything. We are worried about that. But we don't want to prescribe to them as to which coalition they must go. Must go with whatever that they think that is the best for the people of Gauteng. But it must be something that will be able to be stable and stand the test of time.
Funzi Ngobeni, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on and your contribution tonight.